Star Wars is a saga revolving around the dualism between two factions, the Jedi's and the Siths. This contrast is clear from the start. The Jedis are good, their philosophy is to help everybody and to be selfless, while the Siths are evil, and they try to gain power by any means. This distinction becomes more vague as the story goes on with various characters reaching side. This is aided by the fact that the Force is the same for everybody. But the only thing that differentiates the two sides is the way they use it for their means. The two main characters that characterize this duality are Yoda and Palpatine. Let's see these two characters more in depth.
Regarding Palpatine, there is no such moral dilemma. He does things perceived as wrong through supposedly evil means.
Remember back to your early teachings. All who gain power are afraid to lose it, even the Jedi.
The Jedi use their power for good.
Good is a point of view, Anakin. The Sith and the Jedi are similar in almost every way, including their quest for greater power.
The Sith rely on their passion for their strength. They think inwards, only about themselves.
And the Jedi don't.
There is no philosopher whose ideal of morality could be associated with Palpatine's. He could be said to be amoral, as the concept of evil relies completely on the point of view. This will be a main turning point, and it's the main factor that led Anakin to the dark side. His only aim is to be more powerful. Whether this means something good or bad for the galaxy is unknown, although it is regarded as bad at the start.
Yoda could be considered as the Jedi's moral guide, in particular Luke's and Anakin's. Every time Anakin finds himself on the verge of choosing the dark side, he brings him towards the right path, regardless of the circumstances.
Premonitions? Premonitions? These visions you have.
They're of pain, suffering, death.
Yourself you speak of? Or someone you know?
Someone.
Close to you?
Yes.
Careful you must be when sensing the future, Anakin. The fear of loss is a path to the dark side.
I won't let these visions come true, Master Yoda.
Death is a natural part of life. Rejoice for those around you who transform into the Force. Mourn them, do not. Miss them, do not. Attachment leads to jealousy. The shadow of greed, that is.
What must I do, Master Yoda?
Train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose.
This is a typical example of Kantian morality, and Yoda's will to say on the good side is the representation of Kant's categorical imperative. No matter what, there is no excuse for transgressing this rule. The categorical imperative can be contraposed to the hypothetical imperative, in which the goal of the first is to put being right, as in following a strict moral rule, then being good, as in doing the action that would lead to the greater good.
On one side, we find the selfless approach of the Jedi, whose objective is to create a harmonic and peaceful society through the means of law and democracy, which are protected by the Jedi themselves. On the other side, the Siths want to centralize power for unknown reasons, but in doing so, they don't care if they have to wage war or create chaos. The conflict between a utilitarianist philosophy and a Kantian one is the same that we all live in our current day. Should we live by a strong moral ethic, or should we make exceptions if we find them to be better for us? This question is the same that another important character asks himself. He is conflicted between the two sides, walking on a rope unbalanced by the constant opposite influences of Palpatine and Yoda, but especially by his friendship with Obi-Wan Kenobi. This character is Anakin Skywalker.
Anakin, after dreaming of Padme's fate, falls into a deep crisis. He does not want to live through another loss and will do anything to assure this. Initially, his morals are strong, and he tries to resist Palpatine's temptations. However, he doesn't feel fulfilled by Yoda's speech, because it tells him not to do anything for his wife, and to not grieve for her eventual death, and instead feels intrigued by Palpatine's words. He could save his wife if he wanted to, but only by turning to the dark side. Of course, he wouldn't have followed Palpatine's path if there was a second choice, as we see the reluctancy with which he listened to the Senator talk. But in the end, he understands that it is the only way to save Padme.
Has he chosen correctly? Has his choice influenced negatively on the other people's life? In the end, he did what he thought was the most correct thing to do in that situation. Save his wife, try to break through the lies that the Jedis supposedly told him, and maybe rule the entire galaxy along with Padme to create a new perfect society. He followed an evil path while trying to do the most good, perhaps similarly to Mill's utilitarianism, which puts in the finality before the means. Making the world a better place through chaos could be considered moral because in the end it creates the greatest amount of happiness. But had he not chosen the dark side, would Padme be dead anyways? Given that Anakin's aggression toward her because he thought that betrayed him was the cause of her death, perhaps she would have survived, or maybe she would be dead anyways because her fate was inevitable.
Of course, we can't know that, which means that there is no way to know which side will have been the correct choice for Anakin. Anakin's will to become better and to impose himself makes him similar to Friedrich Nietzsche's Übermensch. He tried to do everything in his power to change his fate and to project his will upon his future. However, Anakin could never be considered an Übermensch. This is because his transformation to Darth Vader could have been his chance to impose himself upon his world, but he let himself go to the dark drives that initially pushed him towards the Siths, and his fate overcame him because Padme died because of his own actions.